Hey you guys, welcome back to Lisa and Company. If you're new here, my name is Lisa and I do all kinds of great budget-friendly DIY design and decor. So if you happen to be hopping over from the previous DIYer, make sure you say hello in the comments and I hope you'll consider subscribing. Let's get to this and do some unboxing. Okay, before we get started on the box, Lisa sent me a cute little card and it just says, hope you enjoy the goodies I picked. I just kept wanting to fill it up more. Yeah, I hear you, Lisa. Can't wait to see what you make. Lisa, the Dollar Mom. Okay, let's get started. This is like Christmas morning, but maybe better because I know it's all Dollar Tree craft supplies. So first of all, whoa, this is what I want to start by saying. I'm in Canada and we get such different inventory at our Dollar Trees that I was really excited, especially because I've been watching Lisa's videos and I was curious if she would send me really tough stuff, fairly easy stuff, or if this was going to be just a really cool selection of Dollar Tree stuff that I can't get my hands on. So it's like Christmas morning on steroids. Okay, seriously, let me just, never seen that. I don't even want to do anything to that, but we will. So these guys, the arrows, love them. Can be used all kinds of ways. Looks like this was one of those home signs with a little tea light in it, you know, battery operated. So cool, because we all know how I feel about home. Little crate, coaster, palette thingy, plank, and you can never have too many of those. Ooh, okay. I have seen these. I think I actually may have bought one because I do have pets and yeah, totally. Okay, oh, Lisa. Okay, she's given me 2 home signs. I mean, I made a lot of home signs lately, but I'm gonna have to think of something different to do with that because really, I probably would have just painted it or something. Ooh, rub-on transfers. I love these. You cannot have too many of these. So my little brain's just clicking away here. Laser cut words. I apologize, you guys. I know it's hard to see there. I've never seen those in our Dollar Trees. Canadian Peeps, have you seen those? And I love these. I picked up the owl ones the other day and I think the flowers, but I guess Lisa knows me pretty well because give me anything black and white and give me anything black and white and polka dots and I am one seriously happy Lisa. Oh, look at that. You guys, I totally forgot to show you the challenge items. So, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit terrified. She wrapped them up so nice. Probably just to hide the devilish nature of whatever's in here and whatever she's challenging me with. Let's see. We have got, oh, a little dollhouse wooden table. Well, that's not bad. Okay, I'm not as scared now. Either that or that was just a warm up and this one is gonna be like next level. Oh, I've seen these. I've never bought them. Okay. I can do this. I literally just had an idea. Okay. All right, you guys. Now it's time to get started. So first up, this truck, I used this really great colored spray paint last year for my Easter DIYs and everybody loved it, including me. So I'm going to take this outside and spray it and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to remember or find these lines so I can put them back on the truck afterwards. That one is a giant, fingers crossed. Now, while that is outside drying in the sun, we are going to move on to this next part. I have one of these buffalo plaid plates from Dollar Tree, and I have one of these baskets. You know, when you buy something because it's pretty, but you have no idea what you're going to do with it? That's the case here. So we're going to stick them together. Now, I am really hoping that my E6000 and my hot glue will hold it together. There's absolutely no way to clamp this, so I'm going to have to rely on a couple of heavy items and time that will hopefully allow for this to set up. Otherwise, it's going to be back to the drawing board. Check it out. Look at me. I am using up all my one-item Dollar Tree stash collection inventory items. Ha ha ha. So I'm going to hold this for a couple of minutes just to give that hot glue a chance to cool down and set up. Then I'm going to add a piece of this duct tape and then, yep, a candle and a container of spackle. And I'm going to tuck it out of the way, and I'm actually going to let this sit overnight. And like I said, fingers crossed that this works. Okay, what do you think? Do you love this blue? I think it just screams spring, and it's pretty much the only time of the year I use a color like this, so I guess I associate it with spring anyway. So I know you can't really tell on camera, but I can just barely see the lines from the truck underneath, and I'm going to take this furniture touch-up marker from Dollar Tree and try and recreate that. It's going to take a steady hand. You know what? It's paint. If I don't do a good job, I'll paint over it and start again. All right, so it actually worked out even better than I thought. I added a name of a delivery company here. Have you ever heard of them? Now, I am going to go ahead and give it a slight sanding before I attach it. I just find it makes it look a little bit more vintage and less freshly painted. Then I'm going to take some of my Jenga blocks on the back just so it can be offset from the basket, and you'll see why momentarily. I pretty much always use my E6000 and hot glue when I'm putting materials together. And when I put those Jenga blocks on the back, you can see the wood through the little holes that I am kicking myself for not covering up in the beginning. Now, I did place those blocks in those spots because I do have a fix for not filling in those holes. So stay tuned so you can see what I did there. In the meantime, again, I'm using the E6000 and the hot glue, and I'm just gonna hold it there for a minute to make sure that the glue cools down and has a chance to really hold onto the plastic while we finish this up. So now I'm just going to take some of this Dollar Tree greenery. I love the frosted look of it and the slight lilac and yellow on the stems because I think it looks really springish. Okay, now time to use the first challenge item, which wasn't terribly challenging, but I wanted to use it in a way that wasn't, oh, what the heck. I just used it as a piece of wood and made a really cute tag for what we're putting together here. So check out how this came together. And I don't know, did I do the challenge item justice? So I wiggled and wiggled, and eventually the legs came off, and then I went to do it on the little joining pieces between the legs, the apron, and I was pretty sure that was going to snap off. So I took a couple of my Dollar Tree dowels to make a stake for this. Now I'm going to use my rub-on letters that Lisa sent me, and I'm going to spell out Garden Fresh, but I am really concerned that it's not going to fit on here. So we were literally taking this one letter at a time. And believe it or not, it fit. And I didn't even need to squish it quite so much to the top and the bottom to get it there. I decided to finish it off with a little bit of my antiquing wax on a diaper wipe. Then I took those skewers, cut them in half, put them together with a little bit of hot glue and twine, and then I was getting ready to start putting this together. But first I want to use the buffalo plaid box, so I'm taking it all apart and just using the fabric on the front. I'm also going to use these pan protectors as just fabric, and you may already see what I'm putting together here. Yes, I'm making carrots, and I'm making them in a super simple way, stuffing them with some old pillow stuffing, and then I'm using a little bit of greenery that I had in my leftover bag to stick in the top. On the gray carrots, it's a little bit different. I put it together with the wrong sides together, almost so it created a really neat flanged edge, and I used 3 pieces to do that before I stuffed it and added the greenery to the top. And I just loved the way this carrot looked, so I made a 3rd one. Now don't forget when you finish this video to click on the link in the description box below so you can hop on over to the next video in this hop. There's 5 of us all together and you don't want to miss out on any of this mystery box fun. So gray felt carrots with some greenery coming out of the top. Not a bad use of the challenge item, right? Right? Now we're going to fix up where I hadn't fixed those holes earlier, but this is spray paint, so it can be tricky. This is the way I do it when I have to touch up spray paint. I spray it into the corner of a bag, then I take a really tiny brush, because it is still liquid, it dries quickly and it's very, very thin, so keep that in mind. And then I am just going to go ahead and touch it up both on the Jenga block that I can see from the top, as well as that tiny little hole, just so it doesn't drive me nuts. I'm actually going to do that a couple of times until I get the paint built up to the nice saturation I'm looking for. And now we're going to finish this off. So I am going to put some moss on here, and oh my goodness, this stuff makes so much mess, but it is so worth it for how it comes together. So I am going to tuck that in here and then start putting in my greenery. I've got greenery in 3 different shades, and I'm doing that for a reason. I want this to be a year-round decoration. I want to be able to change up a couple of things so that all year I could do something interesting in here. Now I always cut my greenery apart so that I can get it placed exactly where I want it. That is, after all, the whole point of using the foam. So I'm going to cut these apart into multiple pieces and then start putting them in and really mix up all those different shades, just like it would be in nature. Then I'll tuck in my Garden Fresh tag made out of a dollhouse dining room table, and then I'm going to add my carrots. Now, they were a little bigger than I thought when I planned this all out, but at least you can't miss them. And let's face it, buffalo plaid anything makes anything better. Am I right or am I right? And you guys, although you know I'm not a big fan of bows, I do like messy bows, and I thought if there was ever a project that could use one, it was this one. And I did have a really pretty pale blue ribbon from Dollar Tree, so I thought I would stack that up with a whole bunch of burlap and black and white ribbons, and we would make this look super cute. Today we are doing a Lisa mystery box collab. Lisa, well, that's because there are 5 of us participating today. Who knew there were so many Lisas on YouTube? We've been planning this for a while, actually way back to the new year, and we have gotten to know each other so well as we've gone through this process. So I really hope you'll enjoy the DIYs we've done for you today. My partner in this was Lisa Kennedy, the Dollar Mom. You probably know her really well from Instagram. I'm gonna make sure that everything is linked down below so that you can go and visit all my newest friends. When you're finished watching this video, just click on the link right below in the subscription box. When you're finished watching this video, make sure you click on the next video in the description box below. But what the heck, while you're down there, why don't you hit the subscribe and the notification bell as well, and that way you'll know every time I upload a new video. Now this one's kind of a mini DIY, using up a little bit more of that ribbon and that felt and the buffalo plaid that was left over. All I did was cut it into strips, add a few other strips of ribbon, and then I'm going to tie it together to create a tassel. Then I'm going to use a couple of those laser cut pieces that Lisa sent me to embellish the tassel with a couple of beads. I think this came out really, really cute. I've made ribbon tassels before, and using all these little bits and pieces in it just gave it so much texture. For this DIY, I'm going to be using 3 of the items Lisa sent me: the home sign, the arrow as a house, as well as the little crate. I have this adhesive shiplap looking paper, which I think is going to look super cute on the house. Let's get started. In order to make this house stand up the way I want to in the crate, I'm going to have to sand off a little bit of the bottom. Before I put this together, I want to cover this crate with some of my antiquing wax, and you know I'm going to use that wet diaper wipe to really move it around. Did you guys ever figure out who it was that I saw do that? Because I totally want to give them credit for this. I absolutely love it since I've discovered it. It's a little bit like using a wood conditioner when you're staining a piece of furniture. It just does a beautiful job of opening up the pores and really spreading that stain/wax around. Now, while I was doing all that sanding and staining, I remembered that the pack of paper had a really pretty blue one in it. So I thought we had a bit of a blue thing going on here, and it was so springy that we would swap it up a little bit. And you guys, I can't even tell you how excited that I am that I did this. For my Canadian friends, I did pick this up at Dollarama. There was not a ton of it, so go now if you want to find this stuff. It actually stuck down really well, which surprised me. And now I'm just going to trim off the bottom where I'm going to slide that into the crate so that the paper doesn't tear when I do that. Then I'll flip it over on the other side, and I'm actually going to use my knife to trim this one rather than the sandpaper because I want a really nice finished edge on this one. Now we can get this one put together. I'm going to pop that in there, and I'm going to pop the home in right on the front. And then all I'm going to do is add a little bit of hot glue on the underside just to make sure it stays really well. Now, before I attach that home sign, I am going to put just a little bit of white paint on it. I want it to stand out from the house, and I think the white's going to help out with that. But I'm not giving it a heavy, full coverage coat. I am just going to lightly smooth some on here with my foam brush and then touch it up with a little bit of the antique wax. I was actually at the very bottom of this can of the Rust-Oleum chalked paint, so I added a little bit of water and used it almost like a stain or a whitewash just to smooth it all over the place. With just a couple of drops of hot glue, I'm going to place that home sign right into that crevice, and we're going to call that part done. Now we're going to add a little bit of embellishment to this one with a roof and a tiny little wreath at the top of the peak. Using a couple of popsicle sticks, I'm going to stain them with the antique wax, trim them down, and use those to make a roof for my tiny house. I've trimmed these up and I'm ready to attach them, and I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue in my fine tip Surebonder because I don't want the glue all over the place, and I'm going to pop those on top of the house. To add that tiny little wreath just under the peak, I have these really sweet, tiny white flowers from Dollar Tree. I've cut them into really small pieces so I can glue them into a circle, and I'm just going to build it up as I go. And isn't this the sweetest thing? Although I am a little worried you guys are going to think I do nothing but make home sign projects. This one is totally Lisa's fault. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now for this DIY, I am embracing the pet theme. I have an old Valentine's Day sign. I bought a whole bunch of these just because I liked the frame on them. So we're going to be using the pet sign. We're going to be using the planks that Lisa sent us, and we're going to turn this into a really cute love my pet type thing. While I wait for the paint to dry, I'm going to create a shiplap look for the back of this sign, and I'm going to make it fit within that frame that's already on the sign. I'm just going to cut these pieces and create almost a brick-like pattern. Lots and lots of trimming, but these are so easy to work with the Dollar Tree square and just your average box cutter. Now that diluted white paint that I used on the home sign earlier, I had some left over, so I've dry brushed it onto the outside, dry brushed it onto the planks, and now we're just going to put it all together. I created this on my Cricut, and it says love has 4 paws, and if any of you have pets, I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with me. We're going to go ahead and put that at the top and the bottom around the sign, and then we're going to go back and finish off that paw print. I'm going to go ahead and use some E6000 on the back of this metal sign simply because hot glue and metal don't typically get along terribly well, and I really want this to stick and stay. I'm going to use these tiny blue beads that I found in my mom's button bag, ironically, and they're just going to fill the holes up at the top, and then I'm going to mimic them down at the bottom so it looks like it was meant to be like that, not like I was filling holes. To finish this off, I'm going to put the paw print back on using another one of these finishing markers and then just fill in a little bit with one of the darker colors. Isabel calls that part of a paw toe beans, and I couldn't agree with her more in this case. Hey you guys, that is it for me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I am excited for you to go on and see the next one. I cannot wait to watch what my friends have come up with, and that's all the talking I'm doing today because I have 4 other videos that I have been dying to watch. We'll see you guys next time on Lisa and Company. Thanks as always for stopping by. Bye you guys. Make sure you check out these other videos, and don't forget to follow us over on Facebook and Instagram at Lisa and Company. Can't wait to see you guys over there.